Thereabouts.
All right, maybe it's going now. I'm not sure because I got my YouTube thing turned off. But I'm going to assume it's going, and I'm going to say howdy, everybody, from 3 different parts of Texas, from 3 different guys in Texas, and we are glad everybody's here. You will see yours truly, Rob Painless, up in the top at this where I'm looking at it. The top right corner would be Mr. Wes S. And down in the bottom, all by his lonesome self, is Mr. Bob Hansler, star of this evening's show. Howdy, Bob.
Howdy, guys. Howdy.
I already told you, we're digging that hat you got on. I'm liking that. That's not Bob's usual hat that he wears, but it's perfect for the occasion. It just worked out. We all 3 got them. So if you got them.
It's been a while. I fed the last hat to a lawnmower, but it's been a long time coming.
Yeah,
got time.
Sure. For sure. You gotta see. Can you see how many people are on right now? Any idea?
What am I supposed to be doing?
You're supposed to be drinking, brother.
Or if it's even.
Well, I've got a couple of things queued up. I'll go ahead and say howdy to Chipper, 66. Howdy to Man, Oliver, good to see you. My buddy Ben out of Lubbock. Hi, Carol from way up north in the Panhandle. Good to see you. And my guess, without for sure knowing, is there's probably a few other people too. I may try to pull it back up.
I'm pulling it up, Rob. Go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah,
that'll work.
Play this like it's your channel, and a lot of new people are watching it right now, Rob.
Well, I don't know how that feels. So.
Play this like it's.
My bad.
Anna Lee, Papa Texas, no less. Keith Gregory, hey bud.
I'll let a few more people come in, and then we'll get started talking about the episode and
that works.
All this stuff that's been going on that nobody's been able to know about. Especially,
we're up to 10 people right now, and they're coming in. So, anyway, we got Man, Ben Walton, Carol, Papa Texas, Anna Lee Brown.
Except not
and
Anna.
It's Jay, not Anna. So,
yeah.
And Keith and Joe Primal.
Joe in here? Hey, Joe. Yep, he snuck in.
He just jumped in. I confess that my only outlet for watching NatGeo doesn't allow me to watch it until tomorrow. So, so y'all can't talk about it because I don't want no spoilers.
Well, Wes, I got some bad news for you, brother. Hey, Steve.
Terrible news. I don't know. Use those tears. Get you a waterbed. I don't know.
I just chopped the waterbed up for firewood.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to decide at what point in the show to help y'all re-engage in that argument over Star Wars. Because
it was actually Star Trek, but whatever.
Yeah, either one. One potato. But yeah. I am going to have a real good time when that starts.
It wasn't an argument. I was just educating Wes.
Yeah.
So you are welcome.
We had a disagreement about the effects of time displacement on the emotional well-being of Romulans. It's just
20 years. You can say that they're emotional, but if it's 20 years, they're waiting like 20 years. They should be like at some point wake up and go, yeah, I want a sandwich.
That escalated quickly like I knew it would.
You would think that it would go that way, but then again, they live off their emotions. We had this. Well, I'm not going to go there just yet, but yeah, we were going at it. That was a good conversation.
The universe needs big pharma, and if Romulans need to just chill out, we got a pill for that.
That was hilarious that night. I was sitting there, I was looking at y'all like, who are these two guys? Where did my buddies go? Because I was
in the middle of the mountain screaming about Star Trek. That's all right.
I didn't think I would ever be caught on the side of an argument where I was defending the Romulans' way of thinking.
Well, I understand. I would have never thought that either, Wes.
Actually, I wasn't defending their way of thinking. I was defending the storyline, because without the storyline, it would have gone completely different. It just would have been this boring Oh, well, it's Rob's fault.
Okay. I have to check in every once in a while. All right.
Well, I got a little anxious.
It's the non-Trekkie's fault.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure people are tired of the inside jokes right now.
17.
So, yeah. What do y'all want to talk about?
Well, I tell you what. One of the things I want to talk about, let me just find it here. Because I'm doing a couple of things I'm kind of new to. This is what I want to talk about first of all. That. Bob, tell me about that picture.
What's your picture, man? I can't.
Oh, it's the one where Gordon is standing there and he says, oof. It was right after he had done something with cooking or eating or whatever else. As a screen grab, it was just kind of cool, so I kept it.
There's no telling, except for you'd have to tell me the setting.
Well, what we'll do, we'll come back to it. What I've got the promo set up here that here in a little bit. And we got a couple more people. We'll go ahead and run that video, and we'll do that. For now, we will. Whoop, that isn't what I wanted. That's what I wanted. But like I say, for now, we'll let a couple more people come wandering in. Hey, Wes, did it still quit raining there, or has it started raining again?
It has quit presently, but I think the clouds are coming back in.
Yeah, I'm expecting us to get another shower tonight. I don't know how much.
It was raining.
It
was raining at BTSR a while ago.
Good. That's a good thing for sure.
Or well, just north of BTSR actually, but I think it was in the soft rain part of it.
Nonetheless, maybe it'll get down there. We have gotten, for everybody that knows or doesn't know, we have gone for about a year and a half with only somewhere between 3, we'll call it 4 inches of rain, and that might be generous. And over the last 4 or 5 days, we have pretty much matched that number. So it may be, I hate to get too ahead of things here, but it may be that the drought is over here, and we're going to actually start going back into some real weather. Now, none of that we got even comes close to what Wes has got, and it dang sure don't come close to what Bob's got.
It's been good. It's been real good.
Yeah.
But it's.
Did y'all get a lot of rain, Bob?
Yeah, it's that feast or famine thing, though. We a long time, and now we're doing great. We had a 10-foot rise in the creek there for a little while, and river came up. The swamp is filling back up. I'm gonna go check on that tomorrow. Should be dry enough to check on. And we seem to be getting like a half inch every other day right now, just sustaining, keeping everything crazy. So the mosquitoes are trying to fly with everything.
I was going to say, you're going to be able to do a catch and cook mosquito episode now.
Yeah. If I can last that long out there.
Right.
Oh, it's I'm hoping that nature catches up with some dragonflies and some toads and takes care of it pretty soon.
Got to believe.
It's pretty miserable. You can't hit the tree line without having a swarm hit you.
You can kill that air conditioner if you want to.
There's a place in Africa where they actually do that, like catch and cook sex. I'm like, nope. No, they take this little basket net looking thing and they swing it around until it's slapped full of bugs, and then they squish it into a mass and cook it like in little patties and just chow down on it.
Boy, that's fairly hardcore, isn't it?
Yep. That's well beyond crickets, that's for sure.
Wes, how many people we got in here now?
We have 21 people.
I would say that's blackjack. Let's play that promo. What do y'all think?
I believe so. There's a deficiency in the thumbs up. I'm like,
yeah, that happens. I've been guilty of that myself. All right, everybody, I'm going to play y'all the promo. For those of you that didn't, in fact, it'll be interesting to see who all has gotten to watch the episode tonight as it premiered. I can tell you it was awesome. It was way more fun even than I thought it was going to be, and I thought it was going to be fun. But without further ado, we are going to roll
the Lone Star State. Since I'm in Texas, I want to go big. I mean, really big.
I beg you, can I have some beef now? Oh,
Watch yourself.
now he's staring at me.
He's angry now.
Watch out.
Let's go cook it up.
That's insane. What else is here? Wow, delicious. Lovely. My God, that is so spicy. Woof. Now I get it. Texas is bigger, bolder,
Tougher.
Gordon Ramsay, Uncharted. New season tonight at 9 on National Geographic.
That is spicy. I know what he was eating.
Yeah.
Stuff, man. All kinds of good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, coffee.
So that's probably what the oof was. He probably just got a big old dose of those chili pekins. Living.
There's a lot of oof out there. Yeah, as y'all saw, Bree played a pretty prominent role in there. She rocked the heck out of it, my daughter Bree. So she took him out there and forged quite a few things with him. There was a lot that was out there at that time. And yeah, the pecans, totally Texas. What else was there? There was definitely the nopals, so the cactuses, which played a prominent role in what they cooked there at the very ends, and the onions, the wild onions. So those things were, I don't know, everywhere. So they usually are. That's one of Wes's favorites out there.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah. Wild onions are great.
So sweet. They're so sweet out here. So along with everything else, I mean, there's just not enough. You could have made an entire hour over just what she could have collected out here on this property.
Easily. And for everybody who doesn't know, that is Bree on the camera on the screen right there. The best shot I could get of her. Pretty much most of the time her back was to it in that, but that's her.
Heck yeah. Yeah, they come in on her quite a bit. So, and I think she had some pretty good one-liners there at the very end for the critique.
she's a smart ass. I mean, there's no getting around it.
Yeah, well, she did well.
She comes on
good. And there was that jovial smart ass vibe throughout all of it. So it was really fun being surrounded by professionals.
Yeah, I'll bet.
All that and having that kind of dry humor. Some stuff that was rather serious.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always good to be able to break ice and stuff with humor instead of letting people get too serious and letting nerves get to people.
Yeah, you could definitely pick up on the smart assery, if you want to call it that, between Gordon and Justin, especially there towards the end when they were starting to do the cook-off part.
Oh,
they were having some fun with each other. That was good.
Justin's definitely surprises folks with his mouth. he comes out there swinging.
Yeah.
So he was absolutely, and that food was, and I've been to some five-star restaurants. That food was absolutely fantastic. When I say those ribs were memorable, they absolutely were. Like
nice.
I have wet dreams over those things.
Nice.
So, but
nice.
I've never had a steak like that either. I mean,
right.
It was a beautiful piece of meat, but it wasn't done like we would have done it in Texas. I mean, it was completely enjoyable,
mm-hmm.
but herbs and spices and all kinds of weird things going on with it, and it just tasted like. I mean, it was an experience, but I have nothing to relate it to, really. So very, very different.
So there was other people feeding you as well as you feeding them, or what? So I didn't get to see it.
So what Gordon does is he goes around Texas, and this is mostly the South Central area that he did this time. The first area he went to was to look at cows, and they rounded up some cows to vaccinate using horses and helicopters, which is pretty awesome. Had two young ladies do that. The second portion of this was with me doing rattlesnakes. And so we went out, hunted rattlesnakes for a while, got successful, got one, and then we cooked one inside of a cactus pad. The third portion had Bree foraging the forest. The fourth portion had a guy kind of showing how to do corn tortillas, kind of. And then they went into the challenge round at the very end, the last 20 minutes. And that's when a local chef here in Texas went head-to-head with Gordon. Each one of them picked 3 dishes to make. So the chef made 3, Gordon made 3, and the idea was to try to go head-to-head and see whose was more Texas, that tasted better, that overall was a better indicator of the flavors of Texas, the simple products of Texas. And so there at the very end, they brought in everybody that had been involved. I forgot the pigs. They also tried to go pig hunting, but it wasn't successful. But they brought in a guy that was going for the pig hunt. He's an awesome dude, Rick. They had the 2 young ladies and their parents that went in with the helicopters and the horses, which was interesting to meet. The gentleman that was making the masa, making the cornbread, or the corn tortillas, we got to meet him and talked with him quite a bit, and that was good. And yeah, Bree, and then obviously the star of the show, Huck. And Huck got to steal quite a few meals. I think there at the very end, Gordon came back over and along with the producer and gave Huck several of those ribs that have been chewed on, and Huck just took a whole mouthful up with a smile and walked off.
That's awesome.
Just so happy. So I think a good time was had by all. Absolutely.
Bob, where does Justin fit into this? Did he do an episode of Hell's Kitchen at one point?
You know what? I don't know. I had a couple friends contact me in the last couple of days saying they've worked with him. They're around Houston. I know he's a prominent chef, and they were choosing top folks from the area. So I don't know enough about his background, but as per his cooking, it's fantastic. I mean, it was some good stuff, top notch stuff.
Well, I had wondered just from some of the early banter when they were first getting started in the show before Gordon actually started going out into the field. And maybe not, just the idea I had though.
I'm not sure. I mean, a lot of things were up in the air. Again, COVID just really upset everything. So really and truly, the filming of this happened 6 months later, at least 6 months later than it was originally scheduled.
Yeah.
The coronavirus really flipped things up, but behind the scenes, masks everywhere, lots of PPE, lots of washing hands. Everything was broken down.
Yeah.
It was an experience, but definitely you could tell that things were not typical because of coronavirus.
Sure.
All the measures were awesome and highly successful as far as making sure that everybody was safe. We were all tested several times before the filming and within the filming. So it was they were very diligent. It was a good thing.
Yeah, no surprise. Bob, Justin Stewart commented that the snake cooked in the cactus was the best, and I'm inclined to agree. Taste aside, that was certainly the most interesting.
I think it is. I think he's in a couple interviews, because I've been Googling myself, obviously, trying to figure out what's going on, and knowing how much time we spent out there, and then how much time they have to edit it down to fit into the season. You kind of want to get a taste of what they're picking.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're in the moment, it's hard for you to really pull yourself out and look at it from another perspective and say, what were they capturing and what was I actually doing?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Did it really work out as well as I thought it did? And I think it went really, really well.
I agree. All the way through the whole episode, Gordon kept referring back to the rattlesnake and catching it, and telling Justin, I bet I've done something you've never done, and that whole new element of something different for him.
And it glitched for a moment on the TV, but he didn't show how the rattlesnake died, did he?
It showed you. It didn't show the close up of the snake, but it looked like you had like a long handled pair of scissors or something that you were chopping the head with.
Nope. And that's one of those humorous things that happened, and it's getting shown, and there's nothing wrong with it. Mm-hmm. But when we first met there, when he came down the hill, that is the first time we met. I mean, it's the way it's filmed is the way it happened. It's amazing how that works.
Yeah.
And so he came down the hill. I think the area on the property.
Yep.
And turned the corner, and there was Gordon, and it was time to go. And I went ahead and outfitted him with that snake stick, which I've got in the cart over here. That's going to be down here forever. And I gave him my spare bowie knife. So I had an old classic early 1900s bowie knife, and I fitted him with that. He said he was going to go ahead and gift that to his son, which was going through the military over there in the UK, I believe, and graduating, and got him all set up there. So the snake, when it was finished off, he actually did the honors, which was pretty ballsy. It was a little bit of a little nerve-wracking for him.
No doubt, yeah.
He took care of it, took the head off, and put it underneath the rock, which I came back later and picked up. So
sure.
There he is.
Nice.
There's Mr. Gordon's rattlesnake, and then I've got an address that I'm going to be getting his skin tanned. So for those of you that know my channel, you know that I tan the rattlesnake skins. However they come around, might as well use them.
Bob, you want to show us that head again?
Say that again?
You want to show us that head again? I zoomed in on you a little bit.
Absolutely. It's not much. I mean, it dried out and it was underneath the rock.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna go ahead and tan up his skin and send him a care package here in the next couple months, so that he has something to remember his rattlesnake hunt with.
Nice.
So, I mean, it was an absolute pleasure. It was very different working with somebody that was camera savvy and just very good at presenting and talking and explaining. So at one point he was cutting open the cactus, and this wasn't shown, but for a moment I was going to reach over there and help him fillet a cactus, the #1 chef in the world, and my silly alpha brain thinks I'm gonna help him out. And he took that boot and he absolutely just delicately, better than I could have ever, maybe if I got lucky, and just butterflied open that cactus just like he was a machine.
Of course, so yeah.
But just having that thought go through my head, hey, let me show him what's up. It's just so absurd, and it's so. But at a couple points, he did take my knife, and he did use my knife to skin the rattlesnake. I don't know if that was shown a few times. So that's kind of cool, having Gordon Ramsay take your personal knife and chop some stuff and shove it in a log. So that was neat.
For sure.
Super stoked. So it's just adding to the legend of this old buoy of mine, I guess. So I think I'll go ahead and make a video here in the next couple of days, or the next 4 or 5 days, where I kind of do a walkthrough and talk about. It's just an absolutely amazing experience. Absolutely amazing experience.
No doubt. What a cool thing that was. That whole thing was just loads of fun, loads of learning, loads of experience, like you say. That's one of those possibly once in a lifetime kind of things. I am really proud that you got to do that. Do you have an idea how they came up with your name and decided to come find you?
One of the producers reached out to me.
Okay.
There's only a pool of us out here in Texas that actually do these things, and then even a smaller pool of people that are actually qualified to do these things that are not just heavily editing things or depending upon a crew to make them happen.
Yeah.
So finding my channel, being able to see what I've been doing, knowing that it's just Shauna carrying the camera and Huck making me look good. That's it. They reached out and did some interviews and said, hey, we'd love to do it. They came out a year ago, a year and a half ago, and did all kinds of stuff with me. So they were really trying to figure out what Texas was all about. And I think they did a pretty good job of getting the spectrum. And it kind of looks like there might be a follow-up in season 4 or 5 here in Texas once more, because I think they said it multiple times. There are some adventures here in Texas that they have not yet touched upon. I mean, he needs to come back and get that pig. He definitely get that pig.
Yes.
And he needs to go after an alligator gar.
That's what I was. That's where I was going to go later. I was going to say we got to get him back out there, get a big old gar in, see what he does with that.
Absolutely, and that was one of the ones that was on the list that just didn't quite make it. But all kinds of amazing stuff going on. Overall, just extremely enriching. I am appreciative of him coming and becoming part of my story. And from the interviews that I've seen, it seems like I'm part of his story as well. And that's a good day.
For sure. And you know what? That brings up the perfect opportunity to a little toast. Bob, congratulations, brother. I think this is an excellent milestone for you. Very proud. Even more proud to be able to say I know you and be able to call you a friend. So cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Always, Rob. Always, man. They get a good up with that vinegar on my hat there at the end. Did that come out?
Reese said yes. I didn't notice it. I was probably already starting to head out this direction by then, or where was it, Reese? Was it like at the end?
While they were eating.
While they were eating, okay.
Yeah.
Reese said he saw it. I missed it. I was already starting to transition, I guess.
Right on. Yeah, it looked good, man. It was a great day. That's a beautiful as well. So
that was a fantastic episode. I really think Reese and his wife both said, well, crap, if all of them are this good, they're going to start watching it too. So
yeah, I mean, it is an adventure. I mean, it's amazing to know ahead of time kind of what he was going to do, just from talking to directors and whatnot. As far as the places he was going to go and the people he's going to meet, kind of had an overview, a summary. But that final cook-off, to be there and get to meet with all those folks and talk with them, those two young ladies, their parents, the tortilla maker, Rick over there from Spread Oaks, and everybody else. It was neat to hear their stories and to get talk about their experiences and they got to do and where they come from, because it was not just a diverse show, but the diversity of lifestyles and then also the commonalities. A lot of us came from kind of the same cloth, as it were. So Rick out there from Spread Oaks, the chef, the guy that was super soaking in with piss. He is a charismatic, passionate, absolutely phenomenal guy, and he loves that property. And it is something that he's invited me several times to go see and become more part of. And I just need to take that opportunity to go out there and be a part of it, because he's another one of those guys that he's good to know.
No doubt.
Good people, and good people sometimes hard to find.
Exactly. Now, is he fairly close to you, like within easy driving distance?
Maybe like an hour and a half. Was that, Sean?
Just over an hour and a half.
Yeah, a little over an hour and a half, 2 hours. It
That's
wasn't
not
bad. It was very remote, and the place was spectacular. I believe they rent out areas. They had a full kitchen running the entire time. They had all guided tours with foraging and all kinds of hunting. And it was a whole operation there at Spread Oaks. And it was absolutely awesome to get the tour from Rick and see what they were all about. We'll see what we can get into. I mean, he told me to come in and he would get me an alligator tag. So
wow,
that would be phenomenal.
That would be
goes out there on the property and see what, just an hour and a half difference. Well, an hour and a half for Texas isn't much, but
right. I was gonna say that's close.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. But the land is productive. The land is beautiful. Stock ponds, alligators, all kinds of rivers and kayaking and hunting and all kinds of stuff going on there. So perhaps here next year we'll wade into that, and you'll see a little bit of a change of scenery into that kind of area, kind of a rolling hills area. So we'll see. We'll see.
That'd be good. That'd be good. What now? One of the things I'm kind of curious about here. Let me figure it out again. I'm wondering, when y'all did when he actually ate the rattlesnake cooked cactus, did he really like it? You think? Was he just little TV stuff there and talking like it was good?
The flavor was good. Me personally, I wish I'd put it on for another 15 minutes or perhaps broiled it. because you can see that it's very wet. I have cooked. I know this sounds funny, but I have personally cooked cactus snake better than that, where it's taken more of the moisture out of the meat and gotten down to dry out the meat just a tiny bit. It has steamed that meat absolutely perfectly. You saw that it was just coming off the bone.
Yeah.
And that was done. But the only thing I would have done is maybe try and cook it just a little bit longer to allow that texture to come in to kind of braise the meat. So other than that, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was phenomenal. Fresh caught right there. Good fall snake. So had all kinds of meat on it. And yeah, all natural. Really all natural. We put a little bit of something on there, a little bit of salt. Other than that, that was it. It's just the natural flavor and moisture of the cactus allowing it to steam. And then those good mesquite bowls. And the mesquite just does a great deal on that, cooking it up. So it worked well.
I got to say, those blue corn tortillas looked amazing, even just by themselves, and then later on at the final table. They
came out as okay tostadas. I'm not a tostada person because I think it's just a half-assed nacho, and that's not cooking because I don't know. Tostadas, that was something else, but a good tortilla with real texture, you can definitely taste the difference. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. We're all Texan here. I mean, tortillas are a way of life.
Exactly, and there's a difference between homemade and store-bought, like not even a close difference.
Not even a close difference. No, there really isn't. So I know that y'all, surely Rob and Wes both have corn grinders, or at least meat grinders you can chunk corn in. And then
but I've never done that.
No, never done that.
I've never done that, sadly.
That's.
Did you just say you never ground corn?
I've not to make. I've ground it to feed the chickens, but I've never ground it to actually cook with. Well, except for you and me, Wes, that time when I sat there with a mortar and pestle and beat it into submission.
Yeah. Man, I've made so much cornbread out of regular, like deer corn or feeder corn. It's not even funny. Just rinse it, dry it, and grind it and eat it. It's just cornmeal. It's the same stuff. It's actually a little sweeter. But.
Pound for pound, man. That was when all this COVID stuff came down for a moment, and everybody was just kind of waiting with bated breath, not knowing what this was all about. Last March, I remember going, all right. I just went to the feed store and picked up 7 bags of corn and threw them in the feed shed. Going,
yep.
You know, I've already got my stores, I already got my cans, I already got my seeds catalog, I already got my chickens. I have creeks and traps, and I have a food. But even then, you know, 50 pounds of corn for $5, and times that by 7.
Yep.
That's enough food to get you by for quite a few months if you need to.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Supplementing your diet with whatever you're getting on land. It's an insurance thing. So when everybody was buying everything out of all the grocery stores where you couldn't find anything at all and all the shelves are bare, you go over there to the feed store and the corn is still there. And if you want cereal, maple cereal, go get some sweet feed for a horse, and that's maple and oats and syrup and oats. You're good to go. If it makes you feel better, heat it up with some water, and you got 50 pounds for $8.
Yep, exactly.
So, you can't beat it, and it's one of those things people tend to forget about. So
you know, Wes,
there's pallets full of corn in there.
Yep, for sure. And Wes, I lied. I didn't think about it. I actually have ground up a little bit of corn here a while back as an experiment. But what I have done is use popcorn to make cornmeal and cook with it several times, and that makes a really good flavored cornmeal.
I tried to grow popcorn last year, but gophers. So
yeah.
Yeah, you got to eat those things.
Dude, the gophers down here are so smart. I can't get them to get into. I had 6 traps out. Maybe I just suck at it. But you think, 6 traps, setting them every day for 2 weeks or whatever, you'd get lucky once.
Yeah, you'd think.
But I would just find that they just bury it.
I don't know. I think of like those gator guys on Discovery Channel. You gotta be smarter than the gator. Yeah, you gotta think like the gopher. They're pretty good, but
asking me to outthink a gopher might be asking for a lot. So
I understand. I relate.
Said before, it's just enough to whet your appetite without bedding down. But it's a good meat. It's good bush hill meat. I don't know what you call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's spectacular. So nature can surprise you, and sometimes things taste just as bad as they look too.
Vinegaroon.
Oh yeah, never again. Never.
that man, from the camera on, that vinegaroon thing, would never happen. I said, I don't cringe, man. You were eating. I was like, don't do that, and I was like, whoa.
I mean, there was a chance that it tasted great. I mean, crawdads are amazing. Look at those things. They are nightmare creatures. I thought maybe perhaps it was just the crawdad of the desert, right?
Well, that sounds good.
I was very wrong.
Well, I guess that's true. I mean, people don't believe me. Pack rat tastes like quail, man. If you can't tell the difference, honestly, people just
pack rat.
Calm down and eat the pack rat.
So it's a rat that lives off of pure mesquite beans. That's good protein, good fiber.
It's delicious.
So
when you ate that vinegaroon, the thought that was going through my mind was that it tasted like sucking on some fat, hairy dude's armpit. That's all I could. That's the only picture I had in my head. And I was just like, that's.
It tasted like some kind of pickled and put away for 30 years and forgotten about, and horrible things to happen to. It was not okay. It was vinegar and wrongness. Yeah, it was bad. But you got any guys with any questions on there, or how's your viewership looking?
We got 21 people. It's kind of been up and down a little bit. I was thinking about maybe if anybody's got some questions, put them in there. Wes is watching the chat pretty close, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, Bob would be happy to answer those. And also, if there's anybody, we can run that promo again for anybody that didn't see that or didn't get to watch.
There was one question earlier that y'all were having a conversation when it come up. It was, how did it feel trying to wrangle the snake after having gone through the snake bite thing a few years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, having the correct gear to deal with that is helpful. And there was probably 6, 7, 8 months after the bite that I had confidence issues where I just didn't know. I had dealt with rattlesnakes my entire life. I mean, this is not the 500th snake that I've ever been around. But the ones from West Texas I grew up on are different from the ones that are down here in South Texas. And I've talked to Rob and Wes about this, but I think it's those desert snakes just don't have a lot of life that they have to deal with. They don't interact with things. They don't have animals that they have to interact with every day because in the desert everything's so spread out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a different pace. But down here, if you see my videos, there is life everywhere. I've just started up the snake trapping this week, and we have caught like 14 snakes right now. 14 snakes, and that's just with a few traps set out. It is absolutely wild out here. We're walking everywhere. We're doing all these things, and this life is around us at all times. So these snakes are having interactions with other snakes. They have coach whips that want to eat them. The caracaras have been everywhere that want to eat them. Everything out here is a threat, or it's screwing with them, or it's trying to get in their burrow. And I believe that just makes them more aggressive down here and just different, absolutely different. So by the time Ramsay came around, I was pretty good. I mean, the sunlight was very intense, even though you see the glasses off, I had to take the glasses off because I kept on having problems between trying to look down in the shadow of the cave, and then looking over in the field. The two different lighting systems kind of messed with me, but it all worked out. It all worked out beautifully, and confidence was all there. As long as Gordon did what he needed to do and clamp on and didn't panic and let go of that clamp, because once you clamp, you officially pissed off that snake.
Mm-hmm.
They're nothing but muscle. They're just a giant piece of muscle, and they can really throw around a lot of strength if they want to. They can lift you off the ground if they need to. Strangely enough, I've skinned them where they've picked me up, and it's
Really
interesting. Yeah, that's a 5-footer, a very healthy 5-footer, but it's lifting you up. It's pulling up over 100 pounds and pushing you up, and that's substantial, even if it's on the end of a stick.
I can believe that. I caught about a 5.5-foot bull snake a couple of days ago, and the strength that thing had was just incredible. You know, the constriction and its ability to hang on to something and tug back.
Yeah, sometimes, and you'll see with my videos that I work with snakes that are non-venomous, and you'll see me, and we'll do it the easy way. It's a cool interaction, and they say hi, and I say hi, and split ways after I kind of show them off for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
But with a rattlesnake, you don't often get that. You don't get that opportunity. You have an immediate escalation because you must secure that snake in a way that they cannot get that venom inside of you. And so hurt his feelings, and he's not gonna be okay with it. So if you're gonna have to remove a snake and kill a snake, then you need to be all in. You don't need to be finicky or fidgety or think that you can clamp on them a second time, because every snake is a different deal, and some of those guys seem like they have superpowers. So such as the one that got me.
Mm-hmm. You know, 2 or 3 years ago, I caught a small rattlesnake on one of Reese's places. I don't think Reese was there. His mom was there and saw, but it wasn't even a very big snake. It was a real small one, and I was able to just kind of hold it down with a stick and reach out. I had a pair of gloves on and reached down and got a hold of it. But as I got a hold of it, it moved a little bit, and I got further behind the head than I wanted to, and it reached back and was trying to get me. And while it was reaching back, I realized I had a ginormous hole in my glove right there where it was going for. And I got a little bit nervous for a moment.
I thought I recognized that jar that you're messing with.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a jar. You know what's in that jar?
Yeah. Who wants to pet it?
Yeah, no. No petty. That's a danger noodle. That's Rob dropped off a beautiful rattlesnake from up there in the Panhandle a few months ago, and I've been feeding it geckos and whatever, grasshoppers and whatnot. So he's been hanging out here in the leather shop lately and doing real well, growing, doing his rattlesnake thing. But he was in a place that rattlesnakes should not be. So he's, I don't know, he's kind of got a good view. He's not rattling at me. He's not upset at me. He's been so.
Yeah, he was a pretty mellow fellow from the time we caught him. And the thing is where he was, I had stepped over him about 5 times before somebody finally pointed him out. Glad I had boots on that day.
Jesus, man. Yeah, it's nuts. I've put my hands on them a couple of times out there in the mountains, not knowing what I was setting my hands on because they're so good at camouflaging out there.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, especially in those remote areas where it happened.
I have never looked for a snake as hard as I've looked for them in the Davies Mountains, and I have not seen one yet.
As soon as you stop looking, they're going to be everywhere.
Yeah, that's how that works, though. You know, when you start looking for them, you don't find them. When I was down there at Merkle, you know, scouting out hogs, I just knew I'd come across 2 or 3 rattlesnakes. Never saw the first one.
Well, with Wes this summer, he's going to have dozens of kids running around. They're at the camp. He's going to be teaching stuff and being out there remote with high adventure guys. And the more people you have on the ground, the more boots you have on the ground, especially little monkeys that scrabble everywhere.
Yeah.
What 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds do, they're bound to find something.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna
I
happen.
wonder if I could get them to wear the like sticky mouse traps on their ankles, so when the rattlesnake hits them, it's kind of stuck there,
yeah,
and then
just
they can bring it
down
back to me.
Jolly Rancher board on there. Yeah.
Tell them it's a new kind of snake gator or whatever. It's to keep them
Yeah.
safe.
Good luck, man. Those kids are going to be jumping in the watering hole every day, actually like cleaning off. They're just fooled into washing off and smelling better. Going swimming every day out there in that
Yeah.
spring. So for a bunch of grunting and tomahawk throwing and black powder shooting mountain men, they're not too bad to be around.
For sure. For sure. Okay, I got a question now. One of the other food things on that table there at the end that really caught my eye was that chili, because I love chili of all different kinds, and that one looked pretty good. The color, some of the toppings it had on it, it looked all right.
Yeah, the chili actually rocked. It really did. That was some good hearty chili. I mean that would have stood up. You could have made a chili castle out of that one. I enjoyed that. So the chili was amazing. The steak was awesome in its own way, but just very foreign. That rattlesnake soup, that was that felt very 5-star.
Yeah.
A very rich broth and very rich soup, and it was such a foreign idea to have something that I've dealt with in the forest in very primitive environments. I mean, you're around a campfire all the time eating rattlesnake, and then to have a 5-star meal given to you with what you usually eat around a campfire kind of tripped my brain strange. So it was weird in my brain trying to figure that one out.
Yeah, I'll bet.
So yeah, the tostadas, meh. Meh. I'll leave that to Taco Bell.
Yeah.
What else did they have up there? Yeah, they had some corn tortillas up there. The roast was great. That was good roast. That fell apart real well. I think we took home some of the roast actually.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, Huck got some of the ribs, which I should have pulled more of those ribs and taken them home because they were phenomenal ribs. I mean, I could have just made myself look over just eating those things. So
I think that that little girl, the 16-year-old, I think put it best talking about the meat was that it was just it was overdone. She just liked, salt and meat and just kind of straightforward taste of the beef.
Oh yeah, those girls were scary, man. Those girls were scary. They sat there and they, with conviction in their hearts, I have no doubt that they said, just bring it to us without adding flame. Just cut it real nice and bring it, put it on the plate. They wanted it as rare as it could go. And they weren't joking. They would have just torn into a Longhorn and just started nomming on it. So those two girls were true carnivores. Zombie apocalypse, they're good to go.
Yeah.
They're just gonna put up a ice and start chawing on his back.
Heck yeah.
The chat participant, previously known as Justin Stewart, would like to know, what is your favorite way to cook a snake?
Bacon wrap, man. That bacon wrap snake that I've got there on the channel, the one that bit me that I came back later and cooked. That was by and large the absolute best way ever to cook a rattlesnake. I have never had a snake taste so phenomenally fantastic, even to the point where Huck didn't just eat the bacon coming off, he ate the actual snake because it tasted so good. So it's true. Bacon is truly the meat of the gods, and it enriches everybody's life. So yeah, bacon wrap everything. That's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna have to try
Wes.
everything.
Well,
so
are you looking?
Yes, I see that. Why are you doing my liquor?
Well, thinking about you. That's what.
Oh, okay. Are y'all fixing to do one of those or something?
Yes, we are.
Fine. I already did one, but I'll do another one.
We're actually going to mix these.
Oh, well,
We're going to savor the flavor.
savors the flavor.
Yeah, save me
A little
one
bit of soda.
around a campfire, I guess.
A little bit of ice.
Always next time.
That's got to be seriously one of the best sipping whiskeys there is on the planet. So I shall just put mine in my little bitty glass and put a piece of ice in it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the three of us getting together around a campfire again. I am definitely beginning to need some of that.
It'll be good. I've got some work to do down here, and summer's pretty covered up, but we'll find parts and pieces in here in a bit. But we've got some big plans coming out. I've got some big videos coming out. I know I've taken a bit of hiatus here of late with everything. But
yes, Justin, Justin with Braylin or anyway, Rob is from the north. We call him Sir Robert of the North, Texas. And then we have me, which is I'm Robert's North Texas, Bob's South Texas, and I'm like the belly button.
Yeah, that fuzzy navel part of Texas.
Fuzzy navel part, yeah.
say the belly button limb of Texas, West S. That's
me.
Yeah.
It's the same distance from El Paso or Texarkana. It's the same distance from Amarillo or San Antonio. And same distance from Lubbock to Abilene to Odessa to Angela. I'm in the middle of this state, dude. You couldn't lay it out with a ruler and get any closer.
For everybody that's not from Texas, it's a long way.
It's a big state.
Yeah, it is.
It changed their dynamic. So
now I did figure out that it takes a good little while to get to the Sea Rim State Park, which is the furthest drive I believe I've taken in Texas. It takes a little, but man, it's a pretty drive. So
yeah, I saw that video posted with my daughter. That was pretty awesome. So, yeah, it looked
then,
like
man,
fun.
It was literally hard to leave. You talk about a place where there's just food laying around everywhere.
Yeah.
We were watching people drag fish out of the bar ditch that were bigger than that gar that scared me. You know, the one that made me scream for a gun. I'm like, dude, they're fishing in the bar ditch. You can't catch something that big in the bar ditch, but evidently you can. So
yeah, down there.
I've been doing a lot of research about that saltwater stuff because if anybody's a long time viewer of my channel, I'm a desert rat. I grew up and was raised in the desert for the most part. I mean, did some traveling, but saltwater and aquatic environments have always intrigued me. So I've been talking with a few saltwater fishermen there around Corpus, Galveston area to try and kind of get some fish talkers, some folks that know what the heck they're doing to guide me out there, do some collabs and show me some tricks so that I'm not just out there being a doofus, because I know what I know and I know it well. But I know that ocean is a very foreign thing to me, and to go out there without a lot of knowledge, without a guide, wouldn't be the smartest. So hopefully that's some really cool videos coming up here in the end of summer, where we get out there on the bay and pull in some absolutely fabulous different kinds of fish. Because you only want to watch me pull out gar and bluegill and catfish so often. Eventually, y'all want something different.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's a different environment. I got a friend of mine down there. Christy's mom and dad live in South Florida. That the last time we were down there, he and I went out wade fishing, where we just basically waded out into the inland waterway, the salt flats, and the deepest the water. We waded for a couple of miles, and the deepest it ever got was about chest deep, and that's while the tide was up. And we just fished right out in the water like that, throwing shrimp. And just the things we caught and the way we did that was just amazing. Bob, we were out there for 8.5 hours out there in the water, just waiting around fishing. We didn't take any drinking water or anything to eat. We never thought it through. He does it all the time. But we caught so many cool fish, so many great fish.
It's fantastic.
To go back down there with him and get on one of those little mangrove islands and just do a little survival video. He and I've talked about that, but you know, the events. It was funny. We both had events about the same time. His wife died of cancer about a week, maybe not a full week before the accident with the girl. So we both kind of hit a wall there at the same time. So now that's something we're looking forward to doing again.
We'll see what we can do, man. Next spring, I haven't really put a lot of plans in yet, and I've got my aluminum boat, which is good for the intercoastal, and I think that would be phenomenal. I've been intrigued by this kind of stuff. Y'all have seen me just rock the heck out of the area that I know, and it's always daunting to go into a new area, but there's a certain satisfaction to being able to figure out how to do something in a new area, to figure out what the tricks are, to figure out what it takes and what you need to do to be able to overcome. So it's good and it's refreshing. It's out of the box. It's out of your comfort zone. I think it's a healthy thing to do. And I need to make myself go out there to the coast and do something uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk about it. It's drawing me.
Hey, Rob, I'm gonna try to share a picture.
Okay.
If it'll let me. This was a big time first for me. I mean, this is the first one of these I've ever caught right here. So I can't tell if it's sharing or not. You have to let me know.
I'm not seeing anything yet, but there's going to be a little bit of a lag probably. Oh, I see the picture. Here we go. I know how to do that. There we go. Stingray.
That's a stingray. That's the first one I ever caught. And those, what do you call it? Those bib overalls do not photograph well.
They do kind of get kind of trippy, don't they?
But I was
That's
like, hey,
pretty cool.
I knew it was a ray, and I put it down. But I got it dirty. I put it down. I kind of raked its tail to one side with my fishing pole, and that barb showed up with all that slime on it. I'm like, well, yeah, we'll figure out some way to get him off of here. And yeah, but anyway, that was a blast. Okay,
what was it? Was it hard to reel in? Was he a good fighter?
He did. I think this one, when I got him off the ground or off the bottom, he come right in. I think I caught a bigger one, and I actually thought I'd snagged it. And but somebody was telling me, no, you got a stingray on there, and I was like, well, I don't really want that. And then the line broke anyway. So
yeah, man. Did you eat this one?
No, we weren't where we could really build a fire or anything. So
oh yeah,
I just cut it loose. He still owes me a hook though.
That's pretty cool, Wes.
It was fun. That video's not out yet, so you'll have to wait for that. That's day next after the crabbing. Those guys, that old pickup behind me, those guys back there, we should have took that spot. They drug, I don't know, 8 or 10 redfish out from under that bridge there every one of them was over 10 pounds.
Wow.
And one of them, it was, everybody flocked to help him get the one out of the water. I don't know how big it was, but it looked like a go-kart. So
what were they catching them with? Were they throwing shrimp, or do you know?
I don't know. I believe they were using shrimp. Yeah.
Yeah, typically live shrimp.
Mm-hmm.
So depends on the season.
Everything we had, squid and shrimp, and the only bites we got all day long were on the shrimp. Even the little catfish we caught were on.
Yeah, little salties.
Yeah, and that's on my list now. I've never caught a catfish that looked like that. It looked like a shark, only with a catfish's mouth. So
yeah, there's.
I think my granddad used to call the. Sorry, Bob.
That's sorry. It just you catch all different types of them. Some days it's just a ton of them. I've been intrigued by them. I don't know why people don't eat them, but they jump on the line and they take your bait so quick.
Mm-hmm.
and so that's what somebody told me. They said that they found out after they'd let theirs go that it was probably one of the best eating things there is out there. And I was like, why didn't you tell me that before I let it go? Because, you know, I could have dropped it in the cooler and put ice on it, and I could have brought it home. We could have, I cooked this butt in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
I see
Which
folks.
is no longer a desert, by the way. I live in the middle of a lake.
Yeah.
So
I see folks go ahead and kill those things and throw them back off the dock to feed the other fish every time, because they are just stealing bait, and people are usually targeting different fish. And I think that I need to look up more of it again. I have a guide out there to kind of tell me is there a reason why they're not eating them, or is it just kind of a bias that the saltwater folks don't like the taste of catfish? So
that's now that's one thing I can tell you. When I lived in Florida, I caught saltwater catfish all the time, and that is the cleanest tasting catfish I've ever had. I don't know why people are like, oh man, I don't eat. We just kill those and throw them back. I'm like, they're delicious. Why?
There may be different kinds. Then Reese was just telling me last year when he was down in the Gulf fishing, he said all the fishing guides told him that those catfish were just so nasty that even the Chinese won't eat them. He said they just won't touch them. I was trying to think that I think my granddad used to call them gaff tops, and and I can't remember if he ate them or not. I was thinking that they didn't, but I don't remember.
The gaff tops are the ones that I was eating, man. That was a target species when I was down there.
Okay.
I think that's something we need to look into as far as figuring out, because it's kind of the same thing with gar. Everybody says we don't eat gar. Gar's a trash fish. No, gar is pure, beautiful, white protein meat. Absolutely amazing. I mean, the only thing you could ever say about gar is that you might want to add a little bit of grease to it or fat to it.
That's kind of like carp.
So clean, but it's such a beautiful, large piece of meat. I mean, it's not like carp. Carp is difficult. Gar is so easy, but the hate on that from so many people that have never taken a moment to actually try them is phenomenal. So that there's no telling how many other stories like that where there's a target species that everybody's just taught not to eat and it's not good. So it just perpetuates the society that we don't eat that, you know.
Bonita is one of those out there where I go with where my in-laws live. They've got a fish called a bonita, and it looks sort of like a tuna, kind of, but most of the people say they're no good to eat. But then I got to talking to a couple of people from the islands, you know, down in the Caribbean, and they said, no, they're really good. They said they're kind of oily and a little strong, you know, but they said, especially if you smoke them and then cook them up that way, they said they're really good. So
same thing with javelina. I have tons of people I've talked to said that they shoot them in the field and leave them, which is completely illegal and unethical and not okay in my book at all. Because it's a lack of understanding as far as what the javelina are, and usually what their reasons are again just misinformation completely with javelina. But with every type of food, like you said with that bonita, if you prepare it correctly, it's going to taste fantastic. And the same thing when we brought potatoes over here hundreds of years ago. People just eat on potatoes just raw. This tastes nasty. Well, no, potatoes are delicious. If you prepare it correctly, you're gonna get an awesome flavor, and you're gonna get an awesome cuisine.
Yeah.
So, a lot of this might just come down to how we actually go ahead and culinarily approach these things. So if you're gonna cook something like something else, might not work. So learn what's going on with it before you completely discount it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that. What's that one? Dadgummit, the orange squash. It's a real. I mean, nearly have to have an axe to get into it.
Yeah, most of the winter squashes are like that.
It's
anyway, it's, you know, you eat it before cooking it and you're like, okay, I can't do this. This is not edible. You saute it, little butter, salt, pepper, and it's like, it's delicious.
Or cut it into a soup like you would potatoes. That's how I like them.
Yeah.
Same thing with
butternut squash. There you go. I remembered it.
The yucca out there in South America, the yucca root, the tapioca and stuff like that. It'll absolutely kill you if you don't prepare it correctly. But it's a staple crop, and so once you learn how to prepare it, it has sustained entire civilizations. So it's a lot of it just comes down to regional knowledge, and unfortunately, I think, or maybe fortunately, because it gives us the ability to come out here and do this, we've got to do a better job of figuring these things out and showing people and demonstrating and making videos and educating folks on what really is.
Well, it's like there's people out there that and honey, I'm not picking on you, so just stop it. But there are people out there that refuse to eat crawdads. They call them mud bugs.
Yeah.
Yet they'll go to the restaurant and they'll pay an ungodly amount of money for somebody to bring them the legs off of a saltwater crustacean.
No, right.
I mean, okay.
Well, it's changing. It's I mean, you have stories of 1800s, 1900s prisons, especially around Louisiana and those areas, where they were feeding crawdads primarily to prisoners, and no doubt it was way too much and way too often, and it was just without seasoning and stuff. But the perception now, from going from something that poor people ate, poor people would eat crawdads. Crawdads were something that the high society wouldn't touch, to now we pay premium bucks to make sure that we get a hold of it. You go back just a couple hundred years, and the horse people absolutely hate this. But back then in Mexico and down here in Texas, if you were rich, what you had was tens of thousands of horses. You were horse rich. And those horses, the males were ridden, and the females, all the mares, those were for meat. Nobody but the poorest few people in the entirety of North America would to stand on a mare, to ever ride a mare. All by thousands every year for meat, and now we ride mares all the time. So the changing perception from what was just common, obviously you eat a mare, you don't ride a mare, to nowadays it's unheard of. It would absolutely shock a lot of folks if they learned about just exactly how people back then got their protein, and most of it was mare.
Well, isn't it United States is the only country that doesn't allow people to eat horse, right? Or is the United States and Canada?
Probably. It's not that they're not allowing people to eat horse. If you want to eat your own horse, you can do that. No problem, right? You go to the auction.
Well, you can't go to the market and buy. So.
Well, yeah, it would be a tall order. A lot of horses come through the cow chutes every once in a while, and they go for $50-$60 down here, and they go to the mule skinners. Unfortunately, just there's a lot of horses in the world, kind of like a dog pound.
Yeah.
But what occurred was the U.S. decided to stop inspecting the meat packaging and the meat processing, and those facilities that would take in the horses and euthanize them, and make sure that under U.S. regulations and with our kind of health code and lots of inspections and everything done as humanely as possible, because that's what we do here in the U.S. We stopped the inspections, which meant that those facilities got to shut down. All those plants shut down, and those plants were running a lot of horses. The fact of the matter is there's a lot of horses out there that they're just like cats and dogs, guys. They're just a little bit bigger, unfortunately. We don't like to talk about it, but what that created was a huge diversion into Mexico. And so along the Mexico border, you have these new facilities that have cropped up in the last decade, where they are processing these horses. They are shipping these horses. These horses are having to travel all the way across North America to go across the Mexico border to be euthanized because European countries and these other countries that depend upon horse meat, the need is not gone. So the need is still there. The market is still there. They still need the meat. It's still something, commodity they need. And so instead of being inspected, instead of being as humane as possible, all we did was export it to Mexico and have them now in charge of whether or not these horses suffer. And personally, and with a lot of folks that have kind of been in the business, I think that's tragic to know that the horses have to go thousands of miles now in trailers. Who knows how they're cared for? And now the amount of regulations in Mexico for those facilities, there's no way that they're as stringent as ours were in the United States. So you've just made something that is a necessary evil into something absolutely horrific. So I can't even imagine. So it's one of those things that a simple solution for a complex problem can get you in a lot of trouble.
Agreed.
So
and not to change subjects, two things. One, y'all pardon me for a second. I got to go pay the rent on this drink here. And also, Liberty Garden had asked if we ever eat the flowers off of pita. He called them a pita. I had never heard it called that before, so I had to clarify. But off of yuccas and Spanish dagger, yes, LG, we eat those frequently. They're quite good, either raw or sautéed with a little oil. And now my wife is calling on the phone, so it's one thing after another. So I'll be right back.
You called it a pita? Guess Wes is gone too, eh?
Well, maybe he is gone. I thought he was still here too. Yeah, pita is what he called it. But yeah, yucca, I asked him about it. He said, yeah, yucca is what that was. The different name for me too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were prime and ready down here in South Texas to get a pretty good crop of them this year, but they got about, maybe 6-8 inches tall before that horrific freeze came through and just made icicles everywhere down here.
Yeah.
So it all went to mush. The tops of the yuccas have discolored. A couple late bloomers did come up, so I've got a few pods. I'll be doing a foraging video here in about a week and a half. Everything is coming to fruit at the same time, and with this rain hitting right as this stuff is getting up to size, it ought to be absolutely phenomenal as far as the foraging video. There's some new stuff out here that we're finding. Things are changing always, and I want to be able to kind of show folks in our own way just what they're missing as they walk through that forest. You see the trees, but you don't quite understand what's going on with them a lot of times.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
we're about to have a bountiful harvest of flowers because all of our yuccas, especially with this rain, they are just exploding right now.
That's nuts, man. You're a month and a half behind us. 2 months.
Oh yeah, easily.
Just
Ben,
because.
Good night, brother. Good to see you.
Different part of Texas.
For sure. I'll hang out here and wait till Wes comes back on, and then I'll go make my call. He probably had to go get more coffee.
I didn't realize my mic and stuff was off. I was all talking and everything.
All right, Wes,
I've been eating yucca flowers all week, man. They're like, it's like eating candy. You just walk by and pick it off the shelf.
Yeah, yucca flowers and the stalk. Stalk is one of my favorites because it's more like squash. I like cooking with the stalk. Really. I mean, the stalk is actually better than the flowers a lot of times because when the flowers are getting a little bitter, sometimes that stalk is still absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, you got to be careful with if you wait till the flowers, if like here, like at the edge of them, it starts to dry out, and that means they've pollinated and the flower's done his job. That it will be, it's instantly, it's got the bitter taste to it.
Accurate.
But as soon as they open and they're still, what do you call the organs of the flower, whatever, I can't remember the names now. Anyway, when that hasn't quite showed itself to the rest of the world, it's like it tastes like sweet peas. The flower petals taste like sweet peas. They're delicious.
It definitely has a shelf life, though.
Yeah.
Definitely has a shelf life. I got this coming in on me. That's fun. Man, oh man. I love the rain, but it's throwing nature out of balance.
Yep. There's going to be an insane harvest of the prickly pear berries this year here. I've never seen this many blossoms.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and do some baking of the tunas for a video here in the next couple weeks. It's everything looks absolutely phenomenal out here. The freeze really reset a lot of stuff, and it killed back everything that was weak. It killed back everything that that just was barely hanging on, and that's given a lot more resources to everything else. So it'll be interesting trying to figure out what the flow and the ebb of nature is this year. But I really expect a bumper crop of berries. The only thing that hadn't really been doing well was the mulberries, but that was developing early before we got the rain. So hopefully it'll get a second flush, and we'll get something out of it.
What about your little psycho weird orange trees down there? Are they going to put anything out this year? What's that one called? They're like
those bitter oranges.
The little bitter oranges, yeah.
Yeah, they tend to flourish whether I do anything or at them or if I hate them too much, they tend to even grow better. So those will be out there, and then we're really working on propagating figs. So we've been air layering. I've got 9 air layers going up there on the two big fig trees, and then we're about to propagate probably 20 or 30 of these big giant pecan trees up in the front yard. And then I've got 5 tip layers going for the blackberries now, which will be exciting. So here in a few weeks, we'll have 5 more blackberries, and those produced beautifully this year. The biggest blackberries you can imagine. I've been up there sneaking off to the garden and picking blackberries here and there. So I feel like this year, even though we had that freeze and a lot of things did suffer, I think it pushed the reset button on a lot of stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing what nature has to offer.
You keep saying blackberries, and I wake up in the morning meaning to go check my blackberry bush, and don't. And then you said blackberries, and I'm going, okay, it's been raining on that blackberry for 2 weeks. You should probably go check that blackberry.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out there and find where a bunch of fruit was, and there's just going to be purple poop everywhere. I know it.
Yep. Happy birds. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's going to be, I feel like this year with what we're seeing up in the canopy, everything ought to just kind of come into ripe at the same time. And so what I'm guessing there and what's happened in years past, whenever everything comes into ripe at the same time, a lot of the stuff like the persimmons will actually go and dry on the plant. I mean, depending on the rain. If we get the rain, it's going to rot on there. But if the fruit produces and the fruit goes ripe, there's so much fruit for the wildlife, for the birds and everything else around that they can't keep up with it. And so what you end up having are entire fruit trees with trail mix hanging off of them, really.
Yeah.
Dried in the sun. They've naturally air dried. They've been up there in the air and the sunlight the entire time. It's phenomenal. And you can just go around and collect bags full of dried fruit, and it's good to go. You can do a little bit more drying with it, but the majority of the work has been done, and it's untouched by insect or avian.
Yeah. We had all of our hackberries, well, out in the pasture and away from the house. There's never any fruit left on them, right? By the time full-on winter gets here.
Mm-hmm.
But up by the house, there's always, because I have the dogs and they keep the coons and everything out of the trees. But after that ice come through or whatever, I don't know where all those birds came from, but there were blue birds and there were red birds and there were brown birds and there were yellow birds, and there wasn't a hackberry seed left on a tree I had no raisins left for snacking. Let's put it that way.
Hungry bird. Yeah. The grapes are looking phenomenal right now, Wes. They'll be ready in 2 weeks. They're about 2 weeks, but they're looking fantastic, better than they've looked in years. Everywhere, grapes everywhere. So get ready for some beautiful looking grapes on a foraging video. So,
Cool.
Very cool.
I want to climb that gigantic grapevine down there by the river on your place.
Yeah.
That thing's the size of a tree, man.
Yeah.
But all the grapes are up in the top of the trees. You know, you would have to have a climbing harness to get to those things. You know what? I need to bring a grandkid down there and offer them money.
It'd be neat to see how old that thing is, because it's definitely been there, put in its time.
Oh, wow, yeah. It's growing right next to that, what do you call it? Your little gnome tree or whatever that has all the possums living in it. So,
but yeah, it's those grapevines down there at the river can grow up 20, 30 yards tall up into the canopy, and they can absolutely take over. You saw across the river, there's that huge grapevine that's sprawling across the tops of the canopies, taking down some of the trees, and it's fantastic because they're pulling that sunlight at the same time. They're throwing runners down with bushels of grapes down to eye level, and so it adds kind of a Disney-ish feel over there. So, but those are legacy plants for sure. They've been around. They're survivors. They've been through every single flood, every drought, everything, and they're tapped in, and they're not going anywhere. So it's awesome to find those old trees and to really appreciate them for what they are.
one of the times I was down there, I'd walk down to the river, and it was at night. I think I was going to try to spotlight some raccoons or whatever up in the trees.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I could hear something moving around, but it was across the river. So I turned my flashlight on, and I'm looking, and then I see the one of the grapevines that's hanging down moving. And I keep watching him, moving the flashlight around, and then finally I see it. There's a raccoon sitting on the bank of the river, pulling the vine down to him, picking the grapes off. You know, getting him a handful of grapes, letting it go. I'm just like, you little fat B word. And because I could, if I got him, I couldn't have got over there to him. He was, man, that thing looked like a Buddha sitting there eating grapes.
Yeah, we have some healthy raccoons down here. They want for nothing at all. So the river is a highway, and that's what a lot of folks don't really understand. I mean, it's beautiful to be down there. Everybody that walks down there says this is absolutely gorgeous. Can we camp down here? And the answer is you don't want to, because that raccoon comes in the night, and the hogs come at the night, the opossum and the porcupine and the badger, and everything else comes down to where the fruit is and where the food is, where all those mulberries are, the dewberries are, all of the grapes, and everything else is along that corridor of life. And a lot of folks will move down here to the river property, and they'll start trapping raccoons, because they'll leave trash out of the back, or they'll create some kind of issue with where they live that draws them in, and they feel like they can trap enough raccoons to do away with the problem. And I think the last person that tried that was about 15 years ago. The last I've heard of one. And for the year count, it was something like 249 raccoons caught, because they didn't understand that this is a corridor, and these raccoons are moving up and down. All this life is moving up and down the river. It's not just staying in one place and eating what grows there. It's moving with the river, upstream or downstream, either one, and foraging as it goes. So
yeah,
the populations.
Sitting in one place is a skill learned by humans very recently.
Very much so.
So
very much so.
I'm back.
Few creatures that do territories, but raccoons with rivers.
Yeah, but the ones that do the territories, they're usually predatory animals or whatever, or browsers. Browsers, they eat what's available at the season. They'll change their range or whatever depending on what's growing.
Mhm.
But predators, they wait for the new, this part of the year they eat bison. The later part of the year they eat antelope, and the later the year, they just switch up their diet. You know what I mean? People don't have any idea that it was, the reason you can stay in one place and just go to the grocery store once a week is because of farming.
Yep.
Without that, you're going to have to walk for groceries.
Yep. Or get real good at storing things.
Yeah. Agriculture is important. It really is. So.
I don't know how many is in here, Robert. There's 16 people left in the chat, but I guess everybody's just listening instead of chatting with you. Yeah. Robert Moore is not a fan of Dallas, by the way.
Yeah, I noticed.
I think I'm running out of steam, guys. I'm going to have to call it not here pretty soon.
That's okay. Well, I tell you what, before we go, I'm going to play the trailer one more time for those that didn't get to see it. And we'll call that a wrap. That ain't the right one. That's...
I'm in the Lone Star State. Since I'm in Texas, I want to go big. I mean, really big. I beg you, can I have some beef now? Oh.
Watch yourself.
Now he's staring at me.
He's angry now.
Watch out.
Let's go cook it up.
That's insane. What else is here? Wow. Delicious. Lovely. My God. That is so spicy. Oof. Now I get it. Texas is bigger, bolder,
tougher.
Gordon Ramsay, Uncharted. New season tonight at 9 on National Geographic.
There it is. And hello, Rebecca Joe. Good to see you. Does it taste like chicken? Yeah, it tastes like rattlesnake. Actually, kind of.
Well, I'm glad that everybody got to see the video. I really enjoyed seeing everything. I'm extremely proud of Bree. And I look forward to seeing what this does for Huck's career. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
Put in the hours, he's put in the time. You definitely saw he had his best on. So yeah, we'll see what good things come out of this for Huck, hopefully.
A couple of people asked how come he wasn't in the stream tonight, and I guess that's a good question.
He's behind the camera right here. He's hanging. Huck, you want to come over here? Come on, buddy. Come on up here, up. Okay. Good boy.
Yeah.
Here you go.
There's that box.
Here's that puppy. So he says, COVID winter was pretty hard on us. We're ready to do some more working out and getting some filming done now. It's about time.
And in case anybody doesn't know, Huck is a really, really, really good dog. He is just a pleasure to have around and hang out with. He's one of those dogs that just seems to figure out what's going on and be able to blend right in.
Yeah, he's our shadow. He's always motivating me to get up and go on adventures. He's always for adventure every time. If there's work to be done, he wants to do it, and he never stops looking after me. It's his job. He's known to look after Dad all the time, and so especially when I'm filming and doing all this stuff, you can really get focused in on what you're doing. You get that tunnel vision. You're task done. You're catching an animal. You're cooking an animal. You're tending to fire, and knowing that Huck's out there looking over my back is one less thing for me to have to look around and make sure something's not sneaking up on me or something's not happening. I don't know that I'm not aware of. He's there to take care of that. He never stops working.
Yeah, for sure. He will let you know if somebody walks up on you.
That dog is amazing, honestly.
He is.
Bob, how old now? Is he 7?
He's 6, coming up on 6.5.
6, okay.
Yeah, he is. He's a good kid, though. He definitely enjoyed Ramsay's ribs. He was a fan.
Oh, he just doesn't eat your cooking.
Not just wrapped in bacon, I don't think. No,
that's it. That's the trick, man. You gotta wrap it in bacon or Hook won't eat it.
I understand. You got standards. You got standards.
For sure. Plus, everything's just better in bacon anyway.
Right? Yeah. If he could speak, that'd probably be his mantra.
I'll bet you.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And a lot of camera shyness as well, I think, because he just he'll eat a whole lot of weird stuff when the camera's not on, but when the camera comes on, he gets ready for it, and he's been around it ever since he was a puppy, so he knows what's going on.
But he's just the opposite of you and me and Wes. When the camera's on is when we'll put the most ridiculous things in our face.
Yeah.
Yeah, seems like he's got a streak of self-preservation. So, he probably could learn something from that.
Maybe.
So,
well, Bob, this was great, man. I am really super proud of this whole thing. I just think it is completely awesome. I can't wait to see what all comes out of it. You know, like you mentioned earlier, maybe a second trip for Ramsay to show up there and, you know, maybe do some gar or do some good grief. Who knows what else might come up with down there. I think that's just going to be super. This episode was terrific for anybody that hadn't seen it yet. Disney Plus is where it'll be next, and I think that's a lot easier to go find and watch than it is on NatGeo. But it's absolutely one of the best hours you're going to spend recently.
Yeah,
it was a load of fun.
Tomorrow. So.
Yep. Disney Plus tomorrow.
So, yeah, go watch it, guys. Tell me what you think, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, go check out Bob Hansler's channel.
Absolutely.
It was fantastic.
Don't forget about Barely Survival. That's Bob's secondary channel too. I think I said the other day on something that that's Bob's kind of less serious channel where he can just get on and do some fun stuff and you know, throw some stuff out a little bit quicker and just have some fun, relax with it. And
for those
a lot of
get
stuff on there too.
For those just need a little bit more hug time. That's what
exactly.
Yeah.
It gives a little bit of background stuff, kind of it's not always exactly survival. It's kind of just whatever I'm enjoying right then. So if y'all like what I'm about and you want to know what I'm doing, I'll try and put some more videos on there here and there. But yeah, it's a little bit of everything. But
for sure,
it's almost always right there. So and he's usually good for a show.
For sure.
Some days he quits. So,
hey, Huckleberry, what are you doing? See if he hears my voice. He's like, I'm not talking to him.
Bob?
That crazy guy.
You hear Wes? Where is he?
Hey, buddy. What's up?
That Wes? That Wes S?
Hey. Where's your what do you call it? What's that little stuff down? Oh, that was my fault. Sorry, Huckleberry.
He was like,
now we know what he thinks of me.
He said, I'm going to bite him, man. How do you get here? I'm chewing his lip.
He did a little squeal and jumped off. He was going to go find you.
That was great.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's my cast call. So
that works.
It's been a pleasure, absolute pleasure. It is my bedtime. Thank y'all for all watching the video and being here and listening to us talk about Star Wars. And,
that's right. We got another half hour left, don't we?
Y'all have it. For me, guys, anything else? Until next time.
Bob, it was loads of fun, brother. Thank you.
Absolutely. Anytime, Rob. Anytime, Wes.
All right. Good night.
Okay, Rob.
Now, Wes, you out of here too?
I don't know. Whatever you want to do. What is it, like 11 o'clock?
It is, about 10 minutes till. And I probably should get off here too. I should probably head back to my house because for those of you that don't know, I'm not at my house. I am over at my buddy Reese's house that you can see behind me where I'm at the Dark and Cigar Lounge. And, you know, I'm probably not bothering them, but since he gave up and went to bed, I feel kind of funny being here by myself without him. So probably we should call it. It was a good time.
Yep. Yeah, I should have known better than to harass Huckleberry.
Yeah,
That's
that was
the first thing he
funny.
does is come up and try to eat my face off every time he sees me. Um, that dog's got me twice, but that's because I play rough and he plays rough, so it's all good. I bit him back.
Yeah.
I think Huckleberry's a great dog, and yeah, you're right, Robert. He does look a lot like your dog, Robert Moore.
I figured that's who you were talking to. I'm going to run through the pictures here just for the people that hadn't seen them yet. It'd be Gordon and Bob's daughter, Bree.
That young lady right there is very, what is the capable?
Yeah, that's a good adjective. There's many adjectives that would describe her.
Well, the rest of them, if your eyes are broke, your eyes are broke, but she's capable.
Yep, she is smart. She's a smart ass. A lot of fun to be around. Yeah, that was that episode was way, way better even than I had hoped it would be. It was super good.
I know where they caught the snake, but I'm having a real hard time figuring out where they built that fire pit. Run back to that fire pit again.
Yeah, I think it's right down there.
I think it's just between the creek and the cliff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They probably had to move.
You know what? Yeah, I can see the cliff in the background now.
Mm-hmm.
They're only,
I bet they just
maybe 250, 300 yards from your sleeping arrangement?
Probably not far. They just needed. They would have done it closer to the cliff, but I bet they just needed room for the camera crew and all the production staff to get in there.
Probably. I was looking to make sure they didn't steal my grill. I love going down. Man, if his neighbors decided to put that chunk of property up for sale,
yeah, that'd be hard, wouldn't it?
I've actually been looking. There's a little house for sale actually in town. I've been thinking about it, but man, it needs a lot of work. And like I got the money to have a second home or whatever. So, no, as soon as I got it fixed up, somebody just moved into it when I wasn't down there.
Mm-hmm.
So.
It's funny. It feels like we've been on here longer than this. It says we've been going for an hour and 37 minutes. But I guess that's right.
Hour and 36. Yeah, it goes fast whenever you get started doing things.
Mm-hmm. It does. It does.
Okay, Liberty, thanks for swinging by.
LG, yep. Thanks, bud.
She already signed out and headed to the bed. She's got to go back to work tomorrow. Hard to see into her long weekend. So she took 2 vacation days and stuff. We did take a day and go fishing though. So that was something.
Yep, that was good. You gonna do a video on that?
No, man, I don't. If you want to see what goes on with my family, y'all gonna have to follow me on Instagram. So,
well, I was just thinking about the stuff you caught and whatever else, but
oh no, I didn't. We caught a lot of fish. We didn't catch anything insane. Caught, like I said, caught that one turtle that I didn't know there was such a thing, and apparently it's like literally a special turtle for Texas, and I didn't even know it existed.
How about that? All right, well, Wes, I'm going to wrap it up here with that, and I'm going to say thank you to everybody for being here. Wes, thanks for being on here with Bob and us. That was a good show. That was, I mean, it goes without saying. We just love hanging around Bob anyway.
Oh yeah. Now I've got to go see if I can find me a bootleg copy of the video to watch. So
yeah.
Which, man, I looked all over the place. I just, I don't have cable or none of that stuff. So, Apparently none of my friends do either.
Yeah, I just got lucky was all it was.
Yep. Anyway, thank you people for coming and hanging out with us and letting us talk to you about, I don't know, British guys eating Texas food and stuff. Get that boy down here. I'll teach him how to eat rat. Well, how many rats you have to catch? Because like you have to cook one, he has to cook one. You have to cook enough for everybody to eat. That'd be a lot of rats. And that's the fun part of it anyway, is actually trapping the rat. So sign me up.
All right, everybody. Good night. Thanks again for being here. And Robert, yeah, that's right. This was Memorial Day. So remember all the people that gave their lives so we can do stuff like this. That's hard to fathom sometimes.
Yep. Today was about the ones that didn't make it. Okay.
Yep, exactly. Good night, everybody.